the plot is thickening. So we have that Leo, which you said off rip you identify strongly with. So let's just start there. What are the qualities, the Leo qualities, really quick, that you're like, this is me, I identify?
Leadership, stubbornness, focus on my hair, big eyeballs.
Okay.
I'm just going to start going through like all my
I thought you were going to be
Leo-
like courage, performance, inner child.
I mean, yeah, all those things, but like the true Leo, like I identify with a bit of like, look at me, I have something to share, and then please go away. Like, please leave me alone so that I can, that's it.
Welcome to Stars and Stars with Isa. This is the show where we look to the stars above with the stars below. I'm Isa Nakazawa, your host and resident astrologer, and today's episode is a super special one because I sat down in the studio with one of my very good friends, poet, educator, playwright, screenwriter, and the town's very finest, Chinaka Hodge. As a Leo sun, Chinaka's confidence and creative power shines through her work. Just earlier this summer, she created and executive produced the Marvel Disney+ series Ironheart, which centers on the character of Riri, a Black teenage superhero, or more accurately, an anti-hero. As Chinaka explains in our conversation, she wanted to write a character that could last a long time, which, as you'll hear, really speaks to her beautiful Capricorn rising. This Capricorn energy shows up to shape her Leo sun's natural allure into something disciplined and enduring. In our conversation, Chinaka talks about making space for others in her career, how she's come to understand her own neurodivergence, and what is currently turning her on in others. So let's get into the episode.
Before we cook, because it's actually a cooking show.
Okay. Letter.
Before we start chefing it up, it was your birthday, so happy birthday.
Thank you.
It feels kismet to be reading the stars as you enter what I think is the true new year, if we're keeping it real.
I think so as well. I mean, it's like, it's autumnal new year. It's always my new season. I love that, like, my personal year gives me a quarter, and then we're in, like, the calendar new year.
Facts. So I just want to know, before I dive into all of the specifics, like, what is your kind of broad relationship to astrology?
I am one of those people that will, like, if it's advertised to me, I will take a look. I will see. I would say, like, I watch the weather report most days, and I'm like, yeah, if the wind can have an effect on me, then why not the gravitational pull of the star? If the gravitational pull of our moon is tied to, like, the oceans themselves, then why would that not affect my day-to-day? So it's a really, like, scientific approach for me, and the way my brain works. But I've always, like, the sort of the stereotypical or prototypical things about Leo, I've always very much identified with. I like, of all the animals in the chart, like, obviously, like, choose lion. Like, what?
Absolutely.
What are you talking about? I'm fascinated with the stars, so I'm more like, go up to Chabot Space and Science Center.
Shout out Chabot.
Spend time at the observatory. I'm fascinated with just like, the cosmos themselves.
Did you have any lore? Just because I know a little bit about your family, I'm so curious. Was there any kind of like lore or cosmology woven into your like origin story or your birth story, or was, because you even said it sounds like you've had quite a bit of readings.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious if there has been any like.
I was born at 1644, so I feel like all those fours in a row have always, like, everyone's always said that. It's always been before this like angel number thing was a thing.
Before
I was, early adopter. My mom is a Bible study teacher, so yeah, a lore that has been very present in our house is the gospel. But my dad is a practitioner of West African practices as well, and so I grew up with a Babalawo, who was my dad's best friend. So I got readings literally everywhere I went. I got a reading. Even if I don't believe it for myself, the ways in which humans have always perceived people born under the stars on my same day is of use to me as a storyteller. So.
Yes. So let's get into that, because this is a certain kind of story that we're going to start telling. And I want to start by just sharing what we call in popular astrology is the big three. And so you are a Capricorn rising, a Leo sun, and a Taurus moon.
Everybody better have all my things as I left them. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, it's a Taurus rising.
Yeah. And a Capricorn.
I feel seen.
Like, get it? Yes.
Yeah, so we always start on this show with the rising sign because it is what we need the exact time and location for. And it's the sign that was rising in the eastern horizon at that exact moment in time. And I don't know, sometimes when I'm just like closing my eyes and thinking about how beautiful that is, it's like it is known as the big yes, but it's like you're rising into the world and it represents that first impression. And it's deeper than your physical appearance, though it certainly is true that we can like see certain patterns with that. But it's really like what our orientation is. It's like our internal way of reckoning and first interacting with the world, which is really distinct from your sun sign. Your sun sign, just to put it simply, is like how you individuate and shine. And it's that inner vitality. But your rising sign is really like your instincts and your way of being in the world. And Capricorn rising, which I do want to know before I say too much, like if you identify with that, but I will set it up a little bit, is ruled by Saturn. And this is where astrology, I think, gets a little more interesting, where all of the signs have planet rulers. And that allows science to lend so much more generosity to what these signs can mean. And Saturn is really far away. It's really far away, which lends qualities of being able to observe. And also what I really think about with you, with Cap Rising specifically, is continuum. Like Cap Risings have a deep reverence for what was, and the way that they ascend the mountain with this like kind of perseverance is not for nothing, right? Like that kind of delayed gratification isn't just because Capricorn's like suffering. It's because they're actually interested in holding a really long vision for also those who have yet to come, which is such, I think, a Chinaka like ethic of, and you have, there's actually a quote that I was like, this is kind of to me one of the examples of how I feel like you speak about things, which is you say, quote, "My career exists because Black people made space for me to work. That is my greatest education so far. My career goal, the only one, is to work in such a way that there is more space for my people to thrive." And so I want to kind of start there and like ask you about this kind of Capricorn rising orientation towards honoring the past and your ancestors, and also making very intentional space right now to seed a future. Like what started that? Why is that so important to you?
Those were not negotiable in our house. Like that was reverence for the past, understanding of our ancestors, daily libation. My dad ran a church and my mom did Bible. Like we were on the reverence for what came before. Like
this is helpful, like giving this like a picture.
Yeah, there was no other choice but that. And I was really thinking today, I'm participating in the Black Owned Business Challenge in LA, and I'm like, I'm not going to change anything about my patterns, and I'm going to be competitive in this scavenger hunt. Like in the back of my mind, I'm always like, is it a woman-owned business, is it a Black-owned business, is it a queer-owned business, is it how do I contextualize this purchase, this script, this. I don't think of it as a quality of my own. I can't even think it's a daily chore. I was literally on the chore wheel in my dad's house. Oh, I can't and that's
not the chore wheel.
I mean,
that's so Cap. I love it.
Low key though, like we were doing my dad's work on the weekends, so baby showers, naming ceremonies, weddings, like that was the family business. We danced in and around with the dance troupe that did these celebrations. My grandmother was like the way you just described me is how my grandmother would be described in Pine Bluff. There was a Bobby Hodge Day in Pine Bluff annually because of all the people she cared about, and was very much like same with my grandfather, same with my mom's mom. Like that was the work. Regardless of what was going on internally, our work as a family, I think, has always been to make space for others.
I love that. I think I was always in the back of my mind, especially as I got like older, wondering how you navigate, because that is a really important context to set. Like this is not abstract. Yeah. These are ways that we are formed in the fire of family and like daily practice, which is really different because some people don't come from that. They choose that, right? But I think something that attention, I'm curious that how you navigate, maybe you can give me an example, is like when there's a part of you that wants to say yes to something, and that I know you just said the context isn't everything, but like how do you navigate those moments where like in this industry, like there's not always going to be there's not always going to be the initial capacity or space to like set it up the way you would want. And so is the cap rising approach like, I'll get in and I'll figure it out with time? Or like, how do you negotiate those moments where not that you want to get something selfish, but you just want something and it's not within the arena of the continuum? You know what I mean?
I'm very hungry for things that I haven't seen before and for opportunities that haven't been made available before too. I would say that's the other side of it, where I've had some opportunities available to me that would make sense and like probably find more quote natural community end quote, but haven't been a good fit. So a lot of the things I've passed on or projects I've passed on are things that like are quote perfect for me end quote, but don't really push me a new way. So I'm on a job right now that is like it's about the NFL, it's about football, it's Dan Fogelman's show, it's a great show, and I feel like I don't know, there were a plethora of other like Black Mermaid features and shows that were available to me at the same time I was making these decisions, but I feel like there's work for me to do in a space that, and perhaps because I'm used to it, but like I don't know, I spent all this time as the only Black girl in honors classes in high school. I spent all this time as the only Black girl at NYU or the only Black girl at USC, and at this point I'm an expert at being the only Black girl in the room, and I feel being of use in spaces where we haven't always been is actually my work. I don't think that's true for everyone, and I'm not suggesting that for everyone. So maybe that's the cap rising of it, where it's like, yeah,
that is
being able to see something from a distance and to be able to like add value where I'm competent is my favorite thing to do. Like I love being clutch.
Yeah, and that really helps illustrate Cap, because Cap is one of the 4 cardinal signs. Those are the leader signs of the zodiac. So I always think like Cap, people think Cap Aries couples don't make sense, and I always think it makes sense because both Cap and Aries have the comfort zone of being the only one. And another fun astro fact is that when you're a Cap rising, your home or the place, the most private tuck place in the chart where you are, that's like your foundation of your like psyche and your soul is in Aries. One of the many things I was telling you that I love about your chart is that your ascendant is in Capricorn and it's ruled by Saturn, so follow me. And Saturn is this planet that we can just call the planet of limits. It sets limits. It sets boundaries. Even simpler, it's the planet of no. But you also have the planet of more, which is Jupiter. So Jupiter is that planet that I think in modern astrology, it's getting too simplified, where Jupiter is now only seen as the planet of abundance, where in trad astrology or traditional astrology, it's really more associated with wisdom and philosophy. So I want us to keep that close too. It's really like, it's the wise person. So I kind of wanted to ask if maybe there's a story, or it doesn't have to be a story, but a kind of reflection on a moment in your life where something in your personal life or in your work life went way better than you had expected. And it kind of changed maybe a part of you that was so used to anticipating scarcity or like limits. And then you were like, maybe life is more of this contraction of.
I have a friend who lived with me for a while, and she was like, you are you give so freely, but also things just come to you very resource. Like you're like, don't trip, girl. It's coming. You take this because more is coming, and that's always how I've been. And I feel like the tighter I like ball my fist, the less money comes in, or the less resource comes in, or the less opportunity comes in. On the work front, I hate to keep bringing up this Dan Fogelman show, but like I finished Ironheart, and I was like, I'm a showrunner now. We out here. We finna run all the shows. And my agent and my manager were like, we like this for you. And I went in for the meeting, and I absolutely fell in love with the people that I report to every day, as well as with Dan. I love being on the lot. The room is about the NFL, which I've been, and professional football, which I've been tangentially attached to for the last 10 years. So it turned into like therapy. I've met some of the best people. It's been really good. Some of the press reactions to Ironheart were extremely hard on my psyche. Just the amount of times I was called the N-word or the B-word or that mixed with iron in every language on every platform for a couple of weeks. It was really good to have this work and these people who don't care at all about that, who are very focused on like, I feel like TV writing is very much looking at the future, knowing what a need is. It takes 4 to 5 years from like from development to the audience. So I feel most of my professional experience has been me being like, no, I don't want to do it. Oh, this is really, really good for me. Or let me give lots and lots, and just how much comes back to me when I give lots.
I love that. On some real shit, has there ever been an area in your life where that isn't the case? Like where there's that scarcity leads?
Yes. I would say that in my professional life, I feel abundance, and like I can talk all day. If I give it, it's coming back. Good.
Right.
On my personal life, and that's both like romantic and friendship relationships.
Oh, both.
I feel often that I give in a way that's not reciprocated. And I would say that my romantic partner and people in the past have said that at times it is hard for them to know how legible my love is. You know what I mean? Like it's hard for them to see it. And I've had, not Mac, but like people I've dated in the past have been like, your face was very cold. I didn't know that you cared. Like you didn't emote much. Saturn and autism, but like a little bit of both. And I feel I get more quickly to I'll never have anything, or I need to hold this for myself or ferret this away from myself for later, or I just won't have a birthday then. As opposed to.
Thank you so much for sharing that though, because I feel like and we're gonna move into where I see that in your chart, but I feel like it's super helpful to hear that. So we will start with just the fact that you have Leo sun. Let's start there. So we're moving from cardinal earth to fixed fire. So the plot is thickening. So we have that Leo, which you said off rip you identify strongly with. So let's just start there. What are the qualities, the Leo qualities, really quick, that you're like, this is me, I identify?
Leadership, stubbornness, focus on my hair, big eyeballs.
Okay.
I'm just gonna start going through like all my
I thought you were
Leo.
gonna be like courage, performance, inner child.
I mean, yeah, all those things, but like the true Leo, like I identify with a bit of like, look at me, I have something to share, and then please go away. Like, please leave me alone so that I can, that's it.
Yeah, that's basically your sun, because I just have to cut to the chase, because your Leo sun is like, the sun wants to be in Leo. That's another thing about astrology that helps us understand the connection to astronomy, which is every planet has signs that it's at home in, and we call that domicile or exalted. Your sun and moon are in really happy places. And what that means is they have access to the resources to satisfy the planetary duty, which is really nerdy, but it's cute, because the sun wants to shine, and Leo's like, bet. I got to play. I got a stage. I got a really great script. And then we'll get into it, but your Taurus moon, the moon exalts in Taurus. So you have your luminaries in these places that they can access their resources. But what fascinates me is that this Leo sun that is really skilled at visibility, and visibility in different ways, right? So that can be spotlighting something else, that can be spotlighting itself. All of those things take a lot of audacity and courage and playfulness, but it's shining in the 8th house, which is associated with Scorpio. And the 8th house is the house of all things unseen. So again, we have this kind of beautiful contradiction of the place that your sun is shining is actually spotlighting the things that are subconscious, that are subterranean, that are often under noticed or overlooked. And I was like, oh, this is so like, of course I haven't known your chart before, but I was like, oh man, like it's both, right? Like you're on the stage as young. But even when I think about the first poem I heard you spit from like in New York when I was a teenager, and it was Def Poetry Jam, that was like a poem where you're inhabiting a stage, but you're giving voice to all of these like people in your neighborhood that aren't necessarily on that stage with you. And I was like, oh, this has like been a through line for you personally and performatively, which is very Leo. So I'm kind of curious, like, if that resonates, just knowing that your sun is in this house that's like interested in shining a light, but kind of on the unseen parts.
I think yes, for better and for worse. I feel like
talk to me about both.
Yeah, I feel like I'll find a writer who hasn't had the opportunity to share their work. Yeah, I'm like gonna find the kid in the back of the classroom that's like afraid. But I feel like the inverse is I'm constantly like, I know the wrong thing to say, and then I say the wrong thing. I'm like, I've observed the thing that people want hidden, and I'm like, so tell me.
So let's go straight to that.
Stay there and harp on it till I've gotten a solution. Yeah, that's very...
Because Leo's so fit. I mean, that helps. We were just talking about how cardinal signs are the leader signs. Fixed signs are the sustainers, but they're the fixators. Like, So the Leo and Scorpio, they're both fixed signs. So you have that it's not obsessive,
No,
but
that's
it's
a good word for me.
Okay.
That's a good word.
One of the things I've really noticed about Leo placements, period, Leo sun, Leo moon, Leo rising in particular, is they are very cinematic. And a lot of them work in film or just have a storytelling, like literally just like a visual understanding of the world. Very character-driven, story-driven people, which is just obvious for you. And I loved that in one of the interviews I was watching, you had your writers in your writer's room ask what's a villain or what's a hero.
Mm-hmm.
But then another thing I heard you talk about that I was like, this is Leo in the eighth, is Riri as an anti-hero. And specifically, follow me, because this was like, I was like getting brain candy from this. You were talking about the hero and the villain being kind of a consequence of Riri's actions. And reading all of the reviews, I think one of the things that made me the most angry is that Black women, brown women, women of color never afforded moral gray area ever. And there is like a visceral rage people feel when our subjectivity isn't like 100% innocent, pure, and excellent. And so I'm curious if you can talk about why that's so important in not just building Riri's character, but you as an anti-hero of like, how have you given yourself that like that kind of permission to be morally flexible in your own life when you know that the world is not going to afford you that?
I would say I probably gave myself too much moral flexibility in the last couple years and have been like really like I have to be the authority on it. I can present very easily and I'm very good at masking. And so, yeah, where my moral or my character or my disposition have been low, yeah, I'm sort of the only person who can check me and fix me. And I mean, that's true across the board. But over the last, like, that's what maturity has been for me. It's been like, oh, you could live in muck for a very long time and no one would ever know or care. And it's like on you to call that, to get that in check. I've been giving myself permission to just mess up a little more, rest a little more, or put out a TV show that's like not perfect, but the world appreciates and can use. So I feel like for Riri, the order was to make an anti-hero, and even that made me uncomfortable. I think... I'm sorry. Your show's going to get roasted. I feel like Tony Stark is also an anti-hero.
Yes.
And I wrote a lot of Riri's language similarly to what I enjoyed most about how and why Tony Stark speaks. I feel like there's a bravado that we imbue most geniuses and specifically TV geniuses with. So like House talks away, Sherlock talks away.
Yes.
And I want to let Riri talk that way as well. I wanted her to continue to make bad decisions because, okay, like on a show like Seinfeld, Kramer's the most interesting character. He keeps making bad decisions all the way throughout. No love to the actor.
I know.
but the character himself, you know, is the one you want to lean in for. And the reason that Seinfeld has a show is because he's got this character across the hall who keeps making things harder. And so I feel like for the life of a character, you look at a show like Breaking Bad or like Weeds even, we afford others space to make lots of bad decisions over a course of 2 or 3 seasons, and then the back half is all about redemption, and we really lean into the redemption model, so much so that Dexter's back for like another iteration. So yeah, I was interested in making a television character that could last a long time, and someone who's all the way solvent in episode 101 is already a superhero is actually not a television series. It's a print. It's a photograph, and so I wanted to make a moving image.
I love that. So let's now go to your Taurus moon, and we're staying in the fixed modality. Okay. So Leo, we have a little Scorpio, and now we're in fixed Earth. So more Earth. And Taurus, I always say, is the lazy Earth sign. I'm Taurus rising, and I feel like we're the sensualists. We're the gardeners. Cap is like climbing that mountain, and we're like, I'm going to take a nap, make myself a snack, and I'm going to high five you because I believe in that. And we have aligned values, but what I need is a comfortable pillow.
What I will tell you, that all aligns, and I would say that's the part of myself that I would keep most tucked. And like I have a few friends. I would say Aja Monet. She the first time we kicked it, she was like, wait, you're not writing poems? I was like, no, I'm watching Law and Order SVU. And she was like, what are you having for dinner? And I was like, fine salmon. Like I'm spending more money than one needs to on this salmon, and I'm gonna put my foot off in it, and then we're gonna sit on a very comfy couch, we're gonna light very nice candles, and we're gonna live in all the ease.
This is it.
Yeah, that's why I give, so that I can receive.
And Aja kicked off this show, so we know she was into that.
Well, Aja and I, we share a lot. We share a lot. Where her birthday is just a couple days away. She's a little younger than I am, but yeah, we share like a phenotype and a sun sign and a profession.
And I feel like the deep need for the sensual rest to power up the like public facing work that is not, those things aren't like it's not like Jekyll and Hyde. It's like, no, those are interrelated.
I mean, but I'm the one who had like the sauna built into my house during COVID. I'm the one who's like all of the Le Creuset in order. It's a little bit like,
okay, I need to come hang out.
Yeah,
what?
Compulsive, obsessive.
Yes, fixed.
Collector.
Yep.
Yeah, I very much enjoy luxury. I'm like
luxury.
Yeah, luxury.
That's the word for Taurus.
I wouldn't say our home is opulent. Like, it's not the nicest house on the block. But it is I have what I want in it, and it's mostly purchased at 6 a.m. on Instagram.
Everyone has like, the same like Temu lamp. Yeah, that's hilarious.
But I'm the first one with the automated trash can.
Okay.
It's not.
What about automated blinds?
Yeah, definitely. That's
I want those.
I don't have those, but I've checked them out. But then I'm the one who's like, I want the luxury, and I have a brother like this. I want the luxury, but I'm willing to make it for myself. I'm also very much like, I love to celebrate other people. Like,
you do.
I love to like show up for people, and I love to give the right gift. I love to I don't know if that's Virgo or Leo or what, but I love feeling like useful.
Yeah.
Useful.
I do want to start to end on Mercury, because Mercury is the planet of, it's not just the planet of communication, though it is often reduced to that. It's like our processing station. It's like how we listen, how we understand the world. And yet again, your planet is where it wants to be. Kudos to you, because most of my planets are what we call in exile. There are no resources to be found, but it creates creativity. But so your Mercury is where it wants to be in Virgo. And you actually have other Virgo, including your Venus. So I do want to just kind of talk a little bit about your Virgo, because...
So my Virgo and Venus means that I care deeply about my appearance, but my Virgo and Mercury means that I might not communicate that to the world through how I show my face, right? Wow. So like, I very much want to be perceived as a beauty queen, but I'm willing to do very little of that work.
So where does that leave you?
With help.
Oh.
With people who get it.
Jupiter on the ascendant is so dope. You're like, with help. It's always like, that's such a beautiful place.
I clearly can't do it for myself.
But then I wonder, going back to the romance conversation, if that creates the confusion of like the things you want not being communicated. Right? Because I really relate to that, where it's like the things that you want then become not expressed, but then there's like weird unconscious ways you're holding people to account. Yeah. Like, if they loved me, they would know.
If they loved me, they'd call me on my birthday. And I'm like, that's such a... One, I don't answer the phone any other day of the year, like me. Why would anyone?
No. Oh, I love the phone. Call me.
I'm the hardest person to reach via text, via phone, and like this one day a year, I've written this whole story of...
I definitely texted you on your birthday.
You did, because we're real friends and everybody else is dead to me.
Okay, I was like, damn, I definitely... Everyone in this room gets a lot of text messages from me. And don't always respond, because Capricorns, y'all be short with it. But you're Mercury in Virgo, so tell me about that.
My Mercury in Virgo, I do like clear, beautiful communication, but I do have expectations that once I've communicated it once with beautiful language, that you've understood it and you're processing and moving forward on it. I also have unrealistic expectations that other people will reciprocate my level of communication. So
oof, Virgos do that.
Like, if I've made a mixtape, where's...
That's so good. That's crazy and amazing.
I mean,
you're like, I just dropped the heat, so hopefully mine's coming.
Or you can just it doesn't have to be the same thing, but at the same
level of trade. I feel that. That makes sense to me.
Which is so yeah.
One of the things that you have about your Mercury that I wanted to share that's unique is that your Mercury, when in the sky at the time of your birth, Mercury was retrograde. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people who don't know anything about astrology, they know that, like Mercury retrograde. And it is, I have Mercury retrograde as well. And it's interesting. A lot of poets have Mercury retrograde or have Mercury in detriment. And I think that is genuinely of course I'm justifying it because I have so many retrograde planets and I'm finding the beauty in it. But basically what that means is like, there's a returning, there's like this circular and cyclical way in language where you like go internal and return. And it is like, to me, the placement of neurodivergence for all of us. Like I have it as well. And I think it creates like a wider way that we process language and also can provide language. Because Virgo is the sculptor. It creates form. Its opposite sign, Pisces, is formlessness. Virgo comes in and shapes the clay, right? And it does it oftentimes through language. And that is something you've been doing for so long. But I also think later in your life, like pretty recently, I feel like you've been really like giving me new language around neurodivergence as part of that gift, as opposed to part of that as a burden or as something that's separate from the gift.
I would say I didn't understand my neurodivergence, if I understand it at all. It's very recently. And I feel like the best metaphor I've had and what I've used recently is my whole life someone's told me that the thing in the middle of the room is a flat white sheet. And I'm like, that's an elephant. And they're like, no, it's a flat white sheet. And I'm like, sir, that's an elephant. And they're like, that's a flat white sheet. Note the corners. And I'm like, but what about the tusks and the elephant dung and, the trumpeting of the horn? And in recent recent years when I got my diagnosis, I feel like someone pulled the sheet off the elephant and everyone's like, oh, that's clearly an elephant. Clearly the whole time. But we were talking about the sheet. And I feel like both are right. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's part of my mercurial everything. I'd also say that by and large, I really enjoy periods of Mercury retrograde. Yeah. So like we just came out of one.
Yes.
And it was like, I don't know. I feel like I was going through a really rough patch before that, and I feel like Mercury retrograde was like, great. Like the energy's going to get interrupted. It's going to be harder to communicate. I'm going to send some packages that are going to get sent back to me, but I'm going to, I'm going to have some amazing, incredible, like truly magical nights. I'm going to have like some unexpected, but really like Mercury retrograde this last time. A friend of mine who I haven't worked with on a project ever, but I've known for 20 years, asked me to work maybe on a project in the future. Like it's almost always like
an unexpected like communication message comes through.
Yeah. And so I think it's, I don't know, I had no idea that I was born in Mercury retrograde, but that makes sense. And it's also like, just ahead of my birthday this year, it feels like nice symmetry.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you knew that, but I think it is really, I really resonate with that. One of the things that I also found like interesting is that your Mercury and Venus are in Virgo. And Venus is a lot of times the way we seduce the world, our art, our characters, people in our lives. And Mars oftentimes is like, well, it's how we take initiative and it's our drive, but it's also like the qualities that we're turned on by. So it's a little different in that way. And it's in Sagittarius, which is actually another plot of your chart that we'll get into off air when I do your real birth chart. But they're the same modality of mutable. This is the first time we're seeing mutable signs, which are the liminal signs. They're the signs that actually thrive and change. And they are mercurial in that way. So you have all these different modalities that you can pull from. But I'm interested because they're pretty different. So like a Virgo Venus can seduce through words, through wit, through rapport, through like intellectual like jokes or jousting, right? Like just someone being like, damn, she's smart, like I'm turned on, but they're turned on by the quarterback. So it's like there is like a difference in the way you flirt versus the things that you're like drawn to. Does that resonate, or what do you feel like turns you on right now in people? It doesn't have to be romantically, just like that captivate you.
I feel like it's also like a tail into the last question and the start to this one. I found out or began to explore my own ND status because I was doing a CDC evaluation for Aziza, and I was like, oh, this kind of sounds like her, but it really sounds like me and kind of sounds like other people that I know and around. And so sort of like began doing that work. So I would say like, I'm just getting to the spot of feeling comfortable in that genius or like the expansive brain space. Like I can't say it for myself yet, but I can ascribe it to the other people. I'm dying here.
Your cheeks are vibrating.
But I am quite smart, and I feel most turned on romantically, professionally, spiritually, energetically when I feel like I don't have to tamp it down. Like when there's someone who's on the other side of it who can receive it. Because I feel like so much of my life has been like, oh, that's a really big word, Chinaka. Or like, it's like, it's very nerdy. And I sort of like, my sad place or like my most uncomfortable version of myself as a child is being at a math Olympics in Oakland and being like solving the puzzle too fast and getting sort of like berated or like mocked by the other people in the room. And I feel like, recently I've gotten to a place where I want to be like my fullest self, and the people who turn me on are people who are also like really smart, really community minded, pushing at their own like imagination in new ways.
I love these.
I've made a couple new friends recently, and I've like one asked me to like one is quite accomplished and asked me to keep making so that they have a peer. And I felt like that was like, that was not romantic. That was like straight platonic, but that's
a platonic boner.
That homie will be the homie for life if I have anything to say about it. And I feel like, romantically in general, like I'm turned on by it's always the sentiment. It's always the articulation of the sentiment. And I feel like that's part of what trips me up, is because it's all so ethereal.
And my last thing is just, how can we stay connected to you? Can we plug Ironheart for the listeners? How do we want to do?
Going forward, I'm asking y'all to tune in to the untitled Dan Fogelman Football Project on Hulu, which will be Disney+ by the time this comes out.
Yes.
And how else can you plug in Bring Me to Your School, University, Classroom? I have a broad experience working with 13 to 19-year-olds and would love to share that. It's been so long since I've been there. I'm very findable on the web. Chinaka. Find your girl.
Thank you so much, Chinaka. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
That was Chinaka Hodge, who is a Leo sun. As always, to end the show, I want to leave you with some key takeaways we can all benefit from, inspired by our stars chart. So today we learned that Chinaka has her Venus in the discerning, detail-oriented earth sign of Virgo, and her Mars is in wild-hearted, horizon-chasing fire sign Sagittarius. Now, as a quick refresher, Venus describes our love nature, how we charm, flirt, and magnetize, whereas Mars is more about our desire style, how we take initiative, and what gets our blood pumping. So with her Venus in Virgo, Chinaka flirts through clever conversation and witty banter, but what actually turns her on are more Sagittarian types, the adventurous, big-spirited ones who seem to live what they know. Think quarterback energy or anyone who radiates embodied confidence and wisdom. So she might start by teasing you about grammar, but she really falls for the person who can teach her something real, who moves through the world with meaning and momentum. And in true Venus and Virgo, Mars and Sag form, what really lights her up isn't just chemistry, it's being met intellectually. She's most turned on in her life right now when she doesn't have to shrink her brilliance or simplify and translate her ideas, when someone can really play in that same mental arena and even expand it. For her, attraction starts in the mind, but it really catches fire through shared curiosity. And it's a good reminder for all of us to never dim the parts of you that make you brilliant. They're your greatest magnet. Well, that's it for our download from the cosmos this week. If you liked today's episode, please leave a comment to keep the conversation going, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next week.